Okay, in this video we will briefly cover a priori power analysis using G-power for Pearson's correlation. Power refers to the likelihood of rejecting the null hypothesis, that is, achieving a statistically significant result. Among other things, power is a function of the population effect size, alpha level, and sample size, and in the context of our Pearson's correlation, given that we can carry out a one or two-tailed test, power would also be affected by the tailedness of our test. For the current demonstration, we're going to assume an alpha level at 0.05, and we're going to estimate the sample size needed to achieve power for our test at 0.80, meaning that we would have an 80% chance of rejecting the null hypothesis, assuming that our projected population effect size is correct. Now, I have this underlined for a reason, and that is because it's not uncommon for folks not to not spend much time thinking about the population effect size. So they may sort of say, well, that our population, I'm going to project a small effect, and then we'll just kind of plug in 0.10 in R, and that should be good enough, or a medium effect, and plug in a 0.3, or a large effect, and plug in 0.5. And the fact of the matter is that, R ranges between -1 and +1, and really when we're doing the power analysis, we're only concerned with the absolute value of R anyway, but still, the range in terms of absolute value is from 0 to 1, and these are just 3 points along that range of possible values. So the deal is that if we don't have a well-calibrated projection in terms of the population effect size, then that can lead us to having an under or overpowered test. So it is worthwhile to spend time doing your homework to arrive at a reasonable projection, and that means looking at the empirical track record in your field, and or at least spending time trying to deduce a likely effect size, or to come up with some kind of projection. So let's open up G-Power. So here it is, and what we'll do is we're going to go to tests. We're going to go to correlation regression, correlation bivariate normal model. I'm going to click on that, and so now you can see where it says statistical test, it says correlation bivariate normal. Type of power analysis, we want it set at a priori. So there's a little drop down menu right here. We're going to leave it on a priori. And then you'll see right here it's got tails 1 or 2. And as I said before, the tailedness of the test can have an impact on power. So let's just say that we're going to go with a two-tailed test and basically specifying a non-directional hypothesis. And the correlation right here, basically it's the projected population correlation, assuming that the alternative or the research hypothesis is actually true. We're projecting 0.3. This is the default in here, and that would be associated with using Cohen's effect size conventions, that would be a medium effect. So we'll stick with that for the time being, and we'll set alpha at 0.05. Power, the default here is 0.95, and we can reset this to 0.80. And then you can see right here the correlation under the null within the population. The assumed population correlation, assuming the null is correct, would be 0, or at least in this case, the conventional value when we're carrying out significance testing of our correlation coefficient. So I'm going to set this right here at 0.80, and now we'll click on calculate, and so you can see that the total sample size required, again, sample size required assumes alpha at a level, power, a projected or desired power, and then effect size. And so we've already given our effect size, alpha level, power, and then we also considered the tailedness of the test. So the total sample size required for power at 0.8 is 84. If we wanted to do a one-tailed test instead, we could just click on this, go to one-tailed, and when we click on calculate, you can see that it drops to 67, and that's because generally speaking, a one-tailed test is going to be more powerful than a two-tailed test. So you can see that effect. Now let's say that let's reset our tails to 2, and let's use 0.10 or 0.10 as the as our projected effect size in the population, still maintaining the null of 0. And we'll click on calculate, and so now you can see that the total sample size required would be 782. So you can see that when we have smaller, if the population correlation is, let's say 0.10, then in order to achieve 80% likelihood of rejecting the null, if that effect is actually true, we would need a sample size of 782. So you can see that obviously smaller effects generally are going to translate into lower power. So you need a larger sample size to achieve greater power. Let's say that we go with projected population correlation of 0.5. So in this case right here, if we calculate, you can see that now our sample size required is 29 in order to have power at 0.8 for our test. So that's basically how you carry out the analyses. What you need to do is to think about the tailedness of your test, whether it's a one or two tailed test. Again, basically that's just testing whether, you're essentially testing either a directional or non-directional hypothesis. So that's going to have the implication for the tailedness of your test, the projection in terms of the population effect size, the alpha level, the power that you want your test to be run at, and then again, there's your default 0 for the null population correlation. And so that basically concludes this short demonstration.